Good evening, everybody. Happy Sunday. I'm Otis,
I'm Jerry.
and this is Two Guys Catching Up on Football, our weekly roundup of all things football. These are our opinions, so whether you agree with them or not doesn't really matter. They're our opinions. So,
Mm-hmm.
so it was a fun-filled day today. I mean, so the first thing was the college football bracket, which which wound up being really good. Well,
They
not
may have
really.
got it right, actually.
Yeah, I think so. I think so
Hmm.
too.
At
I, I
least
felt
fairly right. Yeah.
I felt like they did the right thing. Um, and
Shocking.
oh gosh, you know who I don't like to hear talk anymore is Nick Saban. I just, I
Well,
just, because
now
he's on,
go ahead.
he's stumping for Alabama.
Of course. And, and, and,
Well,
and
well,
now,
yeah,
and now I saw they're beefing about is, well, we're just going to not, we'll schedule a bunch of cupcakes next year because strength of schedule doesn't matter. You know what, Alabama, you had a chance to win the SEC just like everybody else, and you didn't.
that's right.
Yeah.
Be
So
be
work
man
on that,
enough,
not your other schedule.
yeah.
Work on beating the SEC teams.
Be
Yeah.
be man enough to admit Alabama's not very good this year. They
No.
didn't deserve to be in the playoff. They lost to Vanderbilt.
Yeah, they.
And they lost to Florida by 20 something points. They were never even in the game.
They
Why should
had
you
a
be
chance
rewarded?
to win the SEC title,
Yeah,
just like all the
yeah,
other teams.
that's right.
So,
They did. They just are not, they were not good enough this
yeah.
year. And
And,
that's what the bottom line came to.
and they need to get used to not being favored, as in favoritism.
Yeah,
Uh, welcome to the rest. What the rest of all the college teams have to deal with. Yeah. So
yeah, yeah. So I think they would have gotten in if SMU had not played as well as they played last night and coming back and losing by a last second field goal. I think if SMU loses that game, I mean, they were down by 20 points or something like that at one
yeah,
point.
I think even the announcer in that game at the end said SMU made a playoff caliber push.
Yeah,
Even though they lost, they could have
right.
folded, and they
Yeah,
didn't. They came back and made a game out of it. So good for them.
yeah. So I think it these are good matchups. And so even without Alabama in it, these are good matchups. You got
Yeah,
Ohio State and Tennessee, and Tennessee
I think
can probably go into Ohio State and beat them. So,
I
and
think
then you
Ohio
got
State isn't Ohio State's road Tennessee, potentially Texas, and then Oregon.
no,
Oh,
it is Tennessee and then Oregon.
well, yeah. Ohio State, if they want to save Ryan Day's job and all that business, they're going to earn it to win it all. Yeah.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, they will. And then we got Texas and Clemson. It's kind of a toss up on that one for me.
Mhm.
Penn State and SMU is also for me a toss up because James Franklin could pull a James
Well,
Franklin at any moment. He didn't. He didn't in the championship game last night, but
I still don't. I don't like the. Would you just kick the extra point? You don't need this.
well, the thing is, they kicked the extra point. Okay, they're down by 7.
Mhm.
All right, so that's to tie. But most of the teams now are looking at how can we win this without going to overtime.
True.
And I'm okay. I'm okay with that because even if they miss it, they're down by 8. They can still go for 2 later on. So
Yeah,
I'm okay with that.
I'd rather
That's
take my
not,
chances getting to overtime than not getting to overtime.
man.
Yeah,
See,
I don't know.
there's just too many things that can go wrong in
True.
overtime.
Yeah.
I as
Yeah.
if I were a coach, it would either be I'm either going to win or lose this game on the last play. I'm not going to let it go to overtime and
And
let
now
it be
the
this
other
way.
is Miami. As much I would have loved to seen Cam Ward in the playoffs,
Yeah,
but they lost. I think Syracuse isn't ranked, or I don't think they were.
they were not at the time. No,
Yeah.
no.
So you didn't do what you had to do.
That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
So you can blame if strength of schedule doesn't mean
Right.
anything, we're
Well,
just going to
Saban.
schedule. Ah,
Yeah.
well,
Saban's
yeah.
gonna rattle his saber because he's
Oh
still
yeah.
an Alabama booster.
Yeah,
So yeah.
and so basically, of what you're saying, Nick,
Mhm.
is that the conference championship doesn't mean anything,
Yeah, that's
and
which is
so
baloney.
since you didn't get to the conference championship, now all of a sudden you want to get a handout from somebody
Yeah.
and saying that you're
No.
worthy. Well, your play on the field
Yeah.
says you were not worthy
You
to
know
be
that
in
you
there.
could even look at it this way, right? Otis is if they don't change the format this year, there's not even any discussion of Alabama in any championship contention. They're done. So
No,
at least they even got mentioned this year. They had a
yeah,
chance.
hey, they would not have been
No,
in the playoff under the old system either.
no.
Because they were not close to being one of the 4
Yeah.
best teams in the country.
So
They're
at
not
least
one
this
of
way
the
they at
12
least
best
got a
teams.
mention. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
So, but I was happy to see Arizona State get a top 4. Clemson should not have, and so I was okay with that. And
You know, no, I'm a little concerned if SMU plays, say, Georgia or Texas, and same with Arizona State. But like we were saying before, didn't Georgia beat TCU 2, 3 years ago, like 60-0 in the national
oh
championship?
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
blowouts are going to happen. It's
yeah.
going to happen, but eventually you will have an upset as well. So it's
Oh
okay.
yeah. Well, if the winner of Penn State SMU plays Boise State,
Yeah. Well,
so
Boise
we'll
State
see.
is probably going to have problems, but who knows? Like you always say,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah. You never.
I can never pronounce his name, Junty or Genti, has a huge
Oh,
game. You don't know.
Jaunty,
Maybe he
Jaunty. Yeah,
sees 3 holes in the game and has 10 rushes for 200 yards. Who knows?
there could possibly be, and then the
Yeah.
winner of Notre Dame and Indiana
Well,
will play Georgia. So
something like that. You
that's
got a Battle of Indiana. Yeah.
that'll be a loss.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'll be a loss. Oregon has the toughest because they got to play. More than likely, it will be Ohio State. So they'll have a rematch, and
Well,
so
beat them
if if
before.
if Ohio State gets past this first game, then I think Ryan Day's job will still be there. So
Probably.
it's yeah, and so we'll see. But it has been a more exciting college football season this past year than it had been in the past, and so it's
It's it's
it was worth watching. It
It's
really was.
definitely more interesting. There are games happening that are much more interesting because of it.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So all right. So
Yeah.
we'll get over to our NFL roundup here, and Packers Lions on Thursday was a good game.
Oh yeah.
Uh, the Lions just came through, and so Dan
I,
Campbell's a pretty good coach. He kind of wins regardless of whoever's on the field. So he kind of is in that Mike Tomlin um,
I think the
uh,
Lions are
branch.
starting to. Well, they already have, but they're learning to really learning how to win. I guess.
Yeah, but Campbell has to,
Well,
um, for lack of a better word, regulate that whole I'm going for it every single time, even if I'm on my
yeah,
own
maybe he
30-yard
needs an
line.
Johnson, or who's the defensive coach?
For who?
The Lions.
Oh, it's
Uh,
Aaron Glenn.
yeah, maybe Aaron Glenn and Johnson, the offensive coordinator, need to just tell him, not this time, Dan. Let's
Yeah,
play it
yeah, not this
conservative.
time. Let's just punt it away.
Yeah, we'll
It's
do that
okay.
next season in week 7. Let's not do it in
Yeah,
the conference
because in the
championship. Yeah,
playoffs, if he's on the other team's side of the field, I'm okay with it.
yeah.
But on your own side of the field, I
No, 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 no,
understand you
no.
want your players to know that you believe in them, but understand that they don't want to put the defense in a bad position, which they did the other
Yeah.
night, and so they were fortunate to come out and win it. And then we can gloss over this one really quickly. Your Browns didn't even put up a fight today.
But
I,
well, early on they did, but
yeah,
their kicker can't make kicks, and
yeah.
and Winston threw picks. That's all you need to know. Yeah,
Kicker
I'm done
can't
with
kick.
Winston, and they cannot. No, he's not a starter. Don't start him next year. I won't watch. Just move on. Yeah.
And then this was the game that nobody really cared. Well, actually, this is one of a couple of games. Saints and Giants. Who cared?
Yeah.
But the Giants did make it interesting towards the
Well,
end. I have to
I
give
don't
them
even
credit
know
for
who
that.
this quarterback is for the Giants anymore.
It's a Drew Lock.
Oh, okay. Well, good for him. If they're
Yeah, yeah, they did make it interesting towards the end, and then the Jets and the Dolphins,
well,
uh, the New York Rogers, they lost,
of
and
course, and he'll blame the owner probably tonight on Pat McAfee's show.
more than
Yeah,
likely, more
he'll
than
blame
likely,
somebody. Yeah,
their defense did not play very well though, because
yeah,
on that
because Rogers got your defensive guru coach
yeah.
fired.
Yeah, because on that, the Dolphins got the ball in overtime. The guy made a really good run back. They're at the 50. And then from there, Tongo Vailoa just kind of carved them up until it was done. So they were the Thanksgiving turkeys.
Yeah,
Yeah, and this was another game that nobody really cared. It was the Jaguars and the Titans.
no, I
Um,
don't.
it was
Can
one of
admit.
those.
I can
Yeah,
honestly admit I don't even know who won that game.
yeah. Well, the Jaguars won. So,
Well,
and now this was interesting because this might be his last game as the Falcons' starting quarterback. The Vikings absolutely bum rushed the Falcons.
I don't know.
Um,
I'm be fascinated what the Yeah, you cannot next season. The Vikings potentially. You're not going into camp with Darnold. Uh, who's the Michigan quarterback that got hurt?
McCarthy.
McCarthy, Darnold, and Jones. I don't see it. Somebody's out.
What Jones?
Daniel Jones.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But
Somebody is out. So
well, yeah, but McCarthy might not be ready to play yet.
that's true too.
So
Yeah.
it's hard to say. So I wouldn't get
Yeah.
rid of Daniel yet. I'd have
No.
to wait to see if
Yeah.
McCarthy can play. And then they might bench Kirk Cousins. I mean, they might.
He's
Um,
playing
eh,
terrible right now. At some point, you gotta. Well, they can still win the division, although I think Tampa passed them. But there is a
yeah,
point when you're done is start playing the Washington kid. Yeah,
yeah. At some point, you got to let him play.
yeah.
And then this was a better game than expected. Eagles and Panthers.
Well,
Um, I was expecting to get a text from you today. The Eagles are frauds,
yeah.
and
Well,
so
I was too
yeah,
a little busy, but I'm not gonna. The other, I'm gonna give some credit to Bryce Young, everybody to start the season piled on him.
Yeah,
He's playing a lot better,
he did.
which is he's not done. He just needs whatever, probably a better coach, but
Well,
Bryce Young.
I think the coach is actually who's helping him the most.
Hmm.
But I think it actually did help him to get benched
Yeah,
because you're talking about a guy who's never been on the bench going back to like
yeah,
probably
true. Make him
junior
work
high
harder
school.
for it. Yeah,
Yeah. And I think it probably helped him
yeah,
to
good.
get benched, to help him to look at the mistakes that he was making
Yeah, good
and
for
that
him. Yeah,
and he's been playing much better, so I'm happy for him.
yeah,
And then one of our favorites, Baker. Baker's just balling. I mean,
yeah. Baker's
he's
gonna
just
Baker. Yeah.
he still is going to throw it to the other team every once in a while, and
Yeah, but they're winning, so
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So it's all good there. And then the Seahawks did what they
I,
did.
I, I, I think they've won 4 in a row. I, uh, I didn't expect Seattle to win. I have no idea what the Seattle Seahawks are all about. Maybe they're my new Eagles, because I don't know. Every time I think they're going to stink, they play well. I have no idea.
Yeah, they're
Right? I think I'm not sure who they play next week, but
I don't know.
yeah,
I don't know.
they're leading the division. I think they're leading the Niners by 2 games with 4 to
Right.
play.
Well, they're
I
only
think, right?
up one game though on the Rams.
Yeah, they're 9-5 though now.
No,
Seattle,
eight and
8 and
five.
5. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
still, I didn't. Who knows? Geno Smith,
Yeah.
I saw today, had real good numbers. I don't know. Smurf returned to being Smurf. We don't have to call him Kyler Murray anymore.
No, I don't have to call him by his given name anymore.
Right. So they're
He
back, I think, tied with the Niners again. So
yeah, I think
that,
San Francisco they beat the Bears, but we knew they were going to. It was gonna be
man, the Bears are
quite an
bad.
upset if the Bears had
Are the
beaten.
Bears worse without Eberflus? I don't. Man,
Well,
is
it's
that
not.
possible?
It's not Eberflus. It's just the fact that they had a coach change in the middle of the season, and they got to kind of figure out how to get through it.
I can live another week with my prediction that the Niners will win the NFC West. They are still alive.
I'm gonna be honest. What is wrong with you?
What? They still have a shot. They're going to be able to go until it's done. They still have a shot. And I'm telling you, their next
And you,
2 games are very winnable. They play the Rams and the Dolphins. You're back to 500. Detroit, now I don't know about that one, but then you'll play the Cardinals last game. They have a shot. I'm
they
telling
don't
you,
have
if
a
you look
shot.
at it,
You know what's
yeah.
funny is you can be optimistic about every team in the league except for the Browns.
Because
The,
I've
the,
watched the
the
Browns
Browns the
for
Browns had a
40
playoff
years or something
the
like that.
Browns had a playoff spot locked up last
Well,
year. And all I heard from you was, no, they're going to lose it. No, they're going to throw it away.
well,
And they
I
were
can,
playing teams that they were
and I
better
have a
than.
right as a Browns fan for this long to be a little schlep rocky at times and to say it's not gonna happen. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, for this year's Browns team,
that's right.
you are correct. It
It
ain't going to happen.
won't work. Yeah,
But yeah, and it's funny because it's like, what exactly? You're just going off the 49ers last year's team, and they're
well,
not
they
the
played
same
a little
team.
better today, although we'll
But it
see
was
next.
the Bears.
We
It
will
was the
know on
Bears.
Thursday what's going on with the Niners because that's a big game. They play the Rams.
Yeah, their defense, the Niners' defense is nowhere near as good as it once was.
Oh no, I agree. Now they
And
might
so
have Greenlaw back. I don't know if Greenlaw played today, but
they can't stop anybody. So
no, I know.
it's just kind of,
And
yeah.
the Bears are not a good team.
No, they're not good. So
Let's
the
not kid
defense didn't
ourselves.
have
So
to work too hard to stop anybody
yeah,
today. Yeah. So
So
and then
we'll
the
see.
the Rams beat the Bills.
That's
And
my shocker. I saw that score. Might have been the fourth quarter for the first time. It was 38-20, yet I couldn't believe it.
yeah, Stafford played really, really well.
Well, I do. I'll say, if Stafford plays well and Cup and Puka are on the field, they're dangerous,
Oh
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The defense is playing pretty good
I'm
because
going
it
to go
kind
on a limb and say that Stafford's probably a Hall of Fame quarterback. So he's still dangerous. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and he is. He
Yeah.
is. You're not going out on a limb
Yeah,
with
he's
that.
probably a
He
Hall of
is.
Famer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but if you think the 49ers are better than the Rams,
Well, we'll see, but
you are
yeah, no,
absolutely out of your mind.
we'll
Well,
find out on Thursday.
McVay is a better coach than Shanahan.
We'll
He's a
see.
much better coach than
We'll see.
Shanahan.
Much
Because,
better adjuster or adapter, I would
well,
say.
that's what a coach has to do.
Yeah,
That's what a
true.
coach is.
Well, speaking of
Well,
which, now we're running down well, we did run down the Browns, but Rasputin got his 10th win, so.
last week when he got his ninth win, it was
Yeah,
guaranteed he was going to be um, above 500 with
true.
his ninth win.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
now he's just got
Although
gravy on top.
they play the Chiefs, Ravens, and somebody else difficult. They're going to get a test coming up, so.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I expect them to win one of those games.
Me
They're
too.
not going to win all three, and everything will have to go right for them to win two out of those three.
I still don't.
But
I do not think the Steelers. I would be willing to put money down that they do not win the Super Bowl.
oh no, I don't think so. But they'll make the playoffs,
Yeah,
and
at some
and
point,
that'll be
Russ.
good.
We know Russ is going to Russ. So
Yeah, yeah. Eventually, he's been playing well, but eventually he will be who he is. That's
yeah, you
just
got
the
to
way it
think it
is.
shows up at some point,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
Pickens will mess it up.
yeah.
Yeah,
And then the Chiefs and Chargers are playing right now. It's a close game. The Fighting Harbaughs are playing well, so
yeah. Wherever Harbaugh goes, he wins.
I
So
know he's not one of your favorites, but he is a
I don't like
very
Harbaugh, but he's a good coach. I'll give him
he's a
that.
very
Yeah.
good coach. And then tomorrow night is another one of those games that nobody really
No, not
cares.
not very interesting.
I and
Yeah.
and the Bengals' problem is more so their defense because they've been putting up a lot of points. I mean, they put up 38, the offense put up 38 points on somebody,
Yeah.
30, 35. People, if your
I think
offense puts up that many points, you should win the game.
I
I
think
mean,
the Bengals miss Joe Mixon.
and that's
I
true.
think they let him go and they didn't replace him.
Right, right.
And they've had I will right. They've had weird things too. Jamar Chase, wasn't he a holdout or something? T.
I don't think
Higgins
so.
has said he doesn't want to come back. They've got some weird stuff going on.
Yeah, yeah. I think they do. So, but it's just kind of,
Yeah, you
um,
get weird stuff going on and you don't win, you got problems.
yeah, kind of like the Browns. They got weird
I
stuff
know.
going on.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, and so I mean,
Yeah, just you
and
cannot have. Oh man, I don't.
Stefanski didn't stop being a good coach. I mean, he
Stefanski's fine. Would you get a quarterback in there finally?
but yeah, you got to get a quarterback in there, and I think if you do, then now I know you like Cam Ward for
Yeah,
your guy.
I'm willing to go with Justin Fields. Well, can we stop with the Jameis Winston is the future and sign him to a 5-year deal? People, stop it. Come on. Just stop already. No. No,
Jameis,
no, and
Jameis
no.
Winston is the most exciting quarterback in the NFL.
Well, that's like a buddy of mine who lives in Cleveland said he said, "Hey, you're forgetting it's not about winning anymore. all the Browns. Winston's fun, and he gives good speeches. That's all that matters.
That's it.
So
He can
it doesn't matter about winning anymore. Winston's
he
fun,
can
and
throw
he eats W's. So
he can
let's
throw
just have
10
fun.
he can
Yeah.
throw 10 touchdowns in a game, 5 to his own team and
Yeah,
5
right.
pick sixes to the
No,
other team. So although
I'm done with it. Move on.
he doesn't get credit for the 5 that he threw to the other team. So, but
I can think of the between the last two games and the Chargers game that I watched. He literally has 8 interceptions in those 3 games. 3,
Yeah.
3, and 2.
Yeah.
No, no,
Yeah.
no.
yeah,
Stop.
he's a he's
Put a tourniquet on it and stop.
he's a he's a marquee. He's a marquee. He's a seller. He's gonna sell tickets.
I'd rather. I'm going to pull one of our favorite names, but I'd be happier to see the Pastronaut back in there. Than
Yeah, yeah. He ain't gonna get you any wins, but he's also not gonna give the other team too many pick sixes.
awful.
So yeah. So anyway, buddy. Well, thank
What?
you. It was a pleasure. We had another good week together, and it's time for a little traveling music. All right. Thank you guys very much. And another week has gone by. This is Otis,
And I'm Jerry.
and this is Two Guys Catching Up on Football. We appreciate you. Take care. Ciao.
Peace.